In this video, we're going to try to understand the gradient a little bit better, as well as its relationship to the directional derivative. So just a few notes first. We know the directional derivative is a scalar. The directional derivative of a function in the direction of our unit vector u gives us the slope of the surface or of the tangent line at a point on the surface. So let's say the slope of the surface at the point x, y, f of x, y. It is a numerical value that gives us slope. And of course, this is in the direction of our unit vector u. The gradient is a vector. This vector, let me write that down, find a different color. Notice that, recall that the gradient of f of x, y has two components. It is a vector function. First component is the partial derivative with respect to x. The second component is the partial derivative with respect to y. And so this vector gives us a grade, right? It tells us how much our function's changing in the x direction, and the vector and the y component is how much the function's changing in the y direction. Notice also that the gradient, when our surface is in R3, the gradient is in R2. It's a two-dimensional vector. So if our surface lives in space, our gradient lives on the xy plane. All right. Another important note, since the directional derivative is a dot product, right? Let's recall that this is the dot product of our gradient with the unit vector in which we're trying to find that directional derivative. We have another way of writing a dot product. We know that the dot product is also equal to the magnitude of each vector multiplied together times the cosine of the angle between the vectors. So let's write that down. And here we'll say cosine theta, where theta is the angle between the gradient vector and our unit vector u. And also recall that both of these vectors are on the xy plane in R2. Okay, we also know that the magnitude of u, we chose it this way so that the derivative will not be magnified in any way, but we know that we find directional derivatives in directions of unit vectors. So we always normalize a vector in which we're trying to find the directional derivative. So we know that the magnitude of u is 1, which means that if we come back to this equation, let me call this let's give it a little 1. If we come back to 1, we have that our directional derivative equals the magnitude of the gradient times the cosine of the angle between the gradient and the unit vector. Okay, well, what does this tell us? Let's think about this a bit. Let's work on cosine theta. We know that cosine theta attains its largest value of 1 when theta is 0. Okay, so that means that the directional derivative, or the slope of the tangent line, will be greatest when our unit vector is in the same direction of the gradient, right? The angle between them would have to be 0. That's going to give us the largest value for our directional derivative. When u is in the direction of the gradient. So that means that the gradient gives us the direction of greatest climb or ascent of our surface. Because if we pick a unit vector in the direction of the gradient, we get the largest value of the slope. So this is an important finding, that our gradient gives us the direction of largest rise in our surface. So if we want to find the largest rise, we want to pick a unit vector in the direction of the gradient. Okay, and so similarly, let's think here. Let's make another note. Cosine theta, this is all under this number 3. Cosine theta attains its smallest value when, and its smallest value of -1, when theta is pi. In other words, when u is pointing in the opposite direction of the gradient. So that means that if we find the slope of the tangent line in the opposite direction of the gradient, then we're going to have the greatest descent of the surface. And so that means that negative delta f, so the opposite direction of the gradient, gives us the direction of greatest descent for the surface. So for example, if you are climbing a mountain and you want to figure out what direction to take so that you have the greatest climb, you're going to go in the direction of the gradient. And if you want to go in the direction that has the steepest descent, you're going to go in the direction of the negative gradient. Okay, let's make another note. These are important findings. Another finding that comes from our relation in 1 is the following. What happens when theta is pi over 2? So let's make another note here. I'm going to call this number 4 just to separate them a little bit. So what happens when the angle between the gradient and our unit vector is pi over 2? Right, so let's recall that in our directional derivative, we have magnitude of the gradient times the cosine of the angle between the gradient and the unit vector. If theta is pi over 2, well, cosine of pi over 2 is 0. Which means that if we have a unit vector that is perpendicular to the gradient, then we will have no rise in our function because the value of the directional derivative, the slope, is 0. We're not rising at all, right? So that means that there is no rise in the surface. So let's summarize that, and we'll box it also. If u is perpendicular to the gradient, or theta is pi over 2, then the directional derivative equals 0, so that direction of u perpendicular to the gradient means that we have no rise in the surface. I'm going to continue talking about these ideas in the next video because it's getting a little bit long. But 3 things that we just learned. If we choose a path in the direction of the gradient, we're going to have the greatest ascent. That will be the path of greatest climb on our surface. If we choose a path in the opposite direction of the gradient, we're going to go down the surface. We're going to climb down with the steepest slope. And if we choose a vector, u, that's perpendicular to the gradient, then we have no rise at all. So we're going to interpret that by looking at some level curves in our next video and think a little bit more about what's going on between the gradient and the level curves of our surface.